How to get over the fear of failure. Consistently in the past with myself and what I've heard from others is the fear of failure constantly holds myself and others back. So in this video today, I'm going to talk about 3 key main points that you need to understand so you can overcome the fear of failure. My name is Chris Richardson. I'm a coach here at Life on Your Terms, and I make videos here so you can do exactly that. You can live a life on your terms. So how to get over the fear of failure? And what were those 3 main points I was talking about? So number 1, you're gonna understand the nature of failure and how this is necessary to understand it. Talk about what you need to develop. What do I mean by that? We'll get into it, so stay around. And then the 3rd, the most important, because this is the action piece, how to face fear of failure head on and how to overcome it. Maybe you feel like you're failing your life. That's what I encourage you to take the balance wheel in the description below, because we're gonna look at professional, relationships, health, and resources, and you're gonna look at the things you feel really good about, and you're gonna look at the things you want to improve on, and then this can be a great stepping stone for you to get over the fear of failure. So I would encourage you to do that. So the first thing, understanding failure. Why is this so necessary to understand failure? What I would encourage you to do is to normalize failure. Treat it as learning. Treat it as just oh, I failed, whatever. Just look at it, look at what you did wrong. Okay, no big deal. Because the only way to lose is to quit. And I've heard that quote from Alex Hormozy numerous times. It's one of my favorite quotes from him because he's completely right. As long as you're in the game, you have not lost. No matter how many failures you've had, it does not matter, because the only way to truly lose is to quit and give up on yourself. So that's one way to realize and normalize failure, to realize that just because I failed doesn't mean I've lost. It means that you're growing. So that is to recognize that failure is a stepping stone. I fail all the time. I mean, I do cold outreach for a lot of my clients I've acquired. There is so many cold outreach messages that have failed and people have gotten upset about. And I just have to learn, okay, don't use that phrase or don't use that verbiage. Whatever it is, just move on from it. I fail with my Instagram posts sometimes. I post on Instagram, it gets 1 like. Whatever, move on. Okay, that content isn't good. Or the way I worded it wasn't good. Whatever, you just have to move on. Look at J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter author. You guys have, I'm sure every one of you have heard of Harry Potter, and she was rejected 12 times by major publishers. You look at Colonel Sanders, he failed 1,009 times on his recipe. It was rejected that much. But look at KFC chicken now. So those 2 giants have failed so much. And I'm not even close. You know, I'm not a giant, but I'm a normal person. I fail all the time too. And that's okay. Failure is okay. So what's the second thing that you need to develop to get over this fear of failure? Well, what I would encourage you first to do is identify your strengths, your skills, your past successes to build confidence and belief. Because by identifying your strengths, your skills, and your past beliefs, or your past successes, you're able to understand that, okay, you're not a failure. So sometimes I get caught up, oh, if I fail on something big, then I've done nothing. You know, I haven't been successful. But if I just start to look back at my successes, look at my skills, and look at my strengths, I start to feel a lot better about myself. So being able to develop that and be able to reflect upon that can help build that confidence and build the belief within yourself to overcome the failure and the fear of failure. Another thing you need to develop is to be able to set goals and celebrate progress. Because by setting goals, you're gonna understand that there will be failures along the way to your goals. But then when you reach that end goal, you'll understand that you still reached it even though you fail along the way. In some goals, you will fail out. And that's okay too, because it teaches you what did you do wrong and what you improve next time. Also, celebrating progress. And I have a great story about this. My mentor and my coach works with this rocket company. They do crazy space stuff, whatever. And they're working on team culture, stuff like that. And they were looking at another rocket company who launched a rocket, and they were looking at the control room, why they launched this rocket. So the rocket goes up, first separation happens, you know, everybody's clapping when it launches, everybody's clapping when that first separation happens, and it keeps going and it blows up. And everybody in the control room goes crazy. They are so excited, they're laughing, they're clapping because of the progress. That would look like a total failure to some companies or some people. They'd be like, oh, your rocket blew up, like you failed, you didn't get to space. But no, they celebrated the fact they were able to build the rocket, they were able to launch the rocket, they were able to get a successful separation, and it made it X amount of feet in the air and it blew up. But they were so happy because about the progress, and they know it's just a stepping stone to get the successful rocket in space. So that's what I would encourage you to do, is kind of hold that rocket story in the back of your mind. They were so excited about a rocket blowing up, probably a multi-million-dollar rocket, but they were so excited because they knew it was a stepping stone to success. That's what I encourage you to do as well. Another thing you need to do is practice that self-compassion. Don't try to be perfect. In the past, I get a 99% on a test in high school or college, and I'd only be worried about the 1% I missed. I tried to be perfect, and I thought it was a failure, and I was afraid of that failure. And so what I had to do is I had to transition from what am I doing wrong to what am I doing right? What are the things that I'm actually doing very well and doing right, and that can help you overcome the fear of failure as well. And one of the final things that you need to develop is persistence and resilience through healthy coping strategies, support, and determination. You will fail and it will get hard, but you need to be able to persist through and have that resilience and that strength to be able to get through that. Now, all those things you need to develop, how do you face that fear head on, the fear of failure? If you're gonna take one thing from this video, one thing at all, is to take action. Simply that, take action. Small steps towards your goal, because realize that you will not be confident. You will not get over the fear of failure until you take that action. That's one of the biggest realizations I've had over the last year, is I thought that confidence came before fear, that you just develop this confidence out of nowhere. No, confidence only comes through the trial, through going through it, through being able to be courageous from the feelings you have or that fear of failure. My first post I made, my first video, my first DM I sent, all that stuff, I was so afraid to fail with it. And the only way that I built confidence through it was by taking that action and going through it. So you will slowly get over the fear of failure, but you have to slowly climb, and eventually you'll build that confidence. So take action. It's the biggest thing, is to face fear head on. Now the second thing is to challenge your negative thoughts. That's how you can face fear head on as well, is like I said earlier, what am I doing right? Challenge those negative thoughts to be able to move through it, to face that fear of failure head on. Also, another way to face it is to seek feedback from mentors and peers. If you are afraid of failure, if you did fail, seek that feedback from them, talk it out, and talking out can help a lot. And if you kind of get it out there, you can get out of your head, because I think that actually can work against you. When you're just in your head, you're so afraid to fail. Getting it out there can kind of help you move through it and not be as afraid of the failure, and realize, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I could do this. You know what I mean? Empower yourself. That's a big thing about this. And then the final thing is reflect and adapt when you fail. When you do fail, because it will happen, as I've been saying throughout this video, look back at what did you do right, what did you do wrong, and what needs to change. When you're able to look at those things, you're able to build and then kick that fear of failure a little bit more each time. Hopefully that was helpful. That was how to get over the fear of failure.